My grandpa was my favorite person. He was always pushing boundaries on normal life and trying to make even the most boring days a little bit more interesting. I would like to keep his memory alive by celebrating his life instead of mourning the loss of it. I think that's a better way to keep the memory of somebody alive without being in pain because you do no longer have them anymore. Now, my grandpa had some crazy ideas. He was a very cool man. We have something in common. We have a very weird creative brain, and we were always just interested by everything. His first creative project, he built a house underground when he first started his family. It only rose a couple feet. It was a dome that only rose a couple feet over the ground, and there was a staircase that went inside, but I understand where his idea and where the passion came to kind of build that creative concept. The determination he had to make things work, even when it seemed silly or feel like it didn't work out or wasn't going to be able to work out, it was like a gift. He could really make any situation feel as if there was a reasonable outcome, even if there really wasn't. But when he was diagnosed with cancer, he was still trying to hold on to that. He did not tell any of his grandkids for about a year and a half, and he was only expected to live around 3 more years from the day he was diagnosed. It took, like I said, a year and a half before he finally told us. He brought me into the garage to shave his head, and he was still trying to make the outcome not as bad as it seemed. We needed a haircut, and then he let it down easily, and I think that is another really good example of he was always thinking of his family and putting other people before him, and I think that makes him very humble and very brave, and I like that memory of him. So 7 years after he was diagnosed, he was only supposed to live for about 3 years, but 7 years later he finally passed. And now looking back on it, I was only 13 at the time, but I don't remember my grandpa ever showing signs of his weakness out in public or around us. He refused to let us see him on his sickest days, and on his better days, he would only have enough energy to come to some of our sports games. Even when he was at his lowest and his weakest point, he was always putting others first before him, and I think that's still something to admire. And although his physical presence in his body is gone, I believe that his soul is still here. The underground house is still here. It still stands, along with his pride and his bravery and his humble spirit. And I will forever love my grandpa. And I'm very proud to have been able to call him that. And I look up to him